Hey everybody, and welcome back to Mel's Board Game Room, which is sponsored by Games and Couples, which is part of Oshrat Online Counseling. So be sure to check them out. I'll have their link down below, but they do an amazing thing doing couple counseling, utilizing a lot of board games as a tool. So it's just great. So today I am talking about the games I've played in the month of February, and I'll be talking about my 9 favorite ones. So let's have a look at the stats. In February, I have played 46 times of 29 different games, which is about 3% of my own base collection that got played. So let's get into the list. In number 9 position, I have Luna. So February, we do our Falduary, where we celebrate our Stefan Fall games, and I had a few that I owned and hadn't played, so Luna was one of them, so I made sure to learn how to play it and get it to the table. This one is very interesting, and it has a really strong balance element that you're trying to keep. So you have the main board in the middle, that is the temple. Sending your workers there and having them keep that spot is going to score you points at the end of each round. So that's good. You want to do that. However, if you do that, that means you don't have those workers on the outside where they go from island to island to activate those islands to get the special ability that each island's going to do. Now, most of them is going to require that you spend 2 meeple to activate the ability, unless you've built a little hut or temple on those outer islands, so then you can do it with only 1 meeple. So that being said, more meeples you send to the middle of the board, less meeples you have on the outside to activate different actions. And that's where you can also create new meeple. You would send 2 meeples, activate them to bring in a third. The problem with that is it feels like you're not really accomplishing anything with those meeples on that turn, because you've just created another meeple, so you haven't actually activated any actions with them, and you just feel like you're not accomplishing enough, which is super exciting, really interesting, and is a neat game. Then, in my number 8 position, I played Thunder Road Vendetta. Now, this is not my own copy. It was a copy that was brought to the Acme Legion Game Day. And it was a lot of fun. So this is like a Mad Max racing game. Each player has 3 different vehicles of 3 different size. And the goal is to race and bump into each other and destroy each other so that you can sabotage them and get ahead. And when one player has all 3 of their vehicles destroyed, it puts in the finish line, and then whoever gets across the finish line first wins the game. So this one is a little bit mean, but super fun if you're okay with that. In number 7 position, I have After Us, which is a deck building game with a really unique mechanism that I had not seen in any other games before. And each turn you'll draw 4 cards, and then you decide what order you want to put them in, because you're trying to connect them to complete these different boxes. And in each boxes that are complete, you get to activate and gather the resources or do the trade that they allow you to do. With those resources, you'll then be able to purchase new cards to add to your deck so that you have more cards you can utilize. There's 2 level cards for each categories. Level 1 will have less boxes, while level 2 would have more boxes, making it a little bit easier to complete these boxes when you're putting everything together. Super neat. I quite enjoy this game. Then in number 6 position is another race game, and that's Downforce. This is one that I've played a lot. I quite enjoy this one. This is another race game that I played at the Acme Legion Game Day. With this one is you have the race map in front of you, and then you're going to start by bidding on a card. Then you're going to be playing cards to race them. Each card's going to have a different color and number assigned to it, and all of those colored vehicles are going to move forward. What's really tricky with this is the board gets really narrow in some areas, or the track, and then you can't move forward. Like it says 5 for blue, but blue can't move forward because yellow's blocking the way. Then they waste all of those extra movement they could have otherwise have had. So it creates a very interesting tension. At the end of the game, the winning cars are awarded a certain amount of money. And then if you bid at each yellow line on the correct card that you thought would win, or being at least the top 3, you would get a prize for that as well. Then you tally that money out, take out the money you bid to acquire your card, and whoever has the most money is the winner. Super fun game. That's Downforce. Then in number 5 position, I have the Manhattan Project. Me and Lee like to do theme nights where we'll watch a movie and play a game that has a similar theme. So we played this game on the night that we watched Oppenheimer, which was super interesting. So the theme is a little bit dark, which you wouldn't be able to tell from the game because the art is so cutesy. But you're gathering scientists and engineer in a race trying to create and invent the atomic bomb. So you're collecting yellow cake, converting them into plutonium and uranium so that you can get these bombs. And each bombs, if they're armed, are worth so many points. And the first player to a certain amount of points wins the game. The gameplay is super interesting. It's a lot of fun. Granted, the theme is a little dark, but it matched the movie so well. It was kind of interesting playing both on the same, or playing and watching them on the same night. Then in number 4 position, I have Apiary, which is a Stonemaier game. Sorry, there's a fly. Jeez, it's like still winter here. But so Apiary, which is, well, maybe that's why this is an insect game. It's about space bees. And this is, I guess I would say, a worker placement game. And you're placing your bees on these different locations to activate those locations. Now, as you bring your bees back, they'll upgrade. So they'll go from side 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. And you just flip them over and each side has a number. And it's really neat because the locations you're going to, you kind of put your bee there. It bumps that bee over to the next position. And then you would tally up those 2 bee values to dictate what you can do, which tile you have access to purchase, or how much movements you get. It's really interesting. I quite enjoy that gameplay, and I bought my own copy afterwards. So that was Apiary. Then in number 3 position, I have Stockpile. I had not played this game in such a long time, and we played it, and I was like, oh my god, yes, I remember. This is such a good game. So fun. And this is a stock trading game. So this whole game is, you're going to start with, I think it's 2 shares that you have. Then you're going to be getting some traders information. You're going to know that a certain company is either going to go up, it's going to go down, it's going to pay dividend, or maybe a variation of that anyways. So some information only you are aware of. Some information is open to the public. Some information nobody has access to. And some information the other players have access to. So based on what you know, you decide which share you want to buy, which share you want to sell. And then you're also going to be getting 4 cards that you're going to put 4 cards in a 2-player game, let me point out. Then you're going to put 2 face up, 2 face down, and then you're going to bid on the different stacks that got created. So when you're bidding, you'll put your meeple, it's like on a calculator, on one of the price you want to bid. Then if somebody else wants to have that pile, then they would have to send their meeple there and outbid you. And you keep bidding until each stack have a meeple bidding for it. Now, some of the cards that are face up or face down, you may not know, like, is it going to be trading fees? Is it going to be that a stock is going down or a stock is going up? But then when you get those in there, you get to decide which stock's going to have that movement. It is such a neat, fun game. I really like it. And that's Stockpile. Then in number 2 position, I have Wyrmspan, which is the reprint of Wingspan, but with dragons. The gameplay is very similar. This is an engine building game that you'll be collecting the cards. Main difference is you're now having to excavate a cave to attract the dragons to. And then the way that you activate the dragon is slightly different as well. But you still have eggs, you still have resources that you need to be able to bring the dragons in. A lot of the game is similar. Wingspan was so good, Wyrmspan is slightly even better, so it was a lot of fun. Then in my number one position, I have Everdell Farshore. I played this one earlier in the winter, and I was so pleased and impressed with it. And the theme won me over. It made me think of home because I'm from a fishing village, and it's all in the seaside theme. You have the seaweed, you have the seashells, you have like the little lobster meatball. The whole thing is just amazing, and I love it. And the gameplay is quite neat as well, and it's very much again like a worker, not an engine building, where you're gonna be worker placement, go into different location to collect resources or activate different action, and then you're going to spend those resources to acquire cards, and you can have up to 15 cards, and depending on the cards that you have, how they'll work with each other and what it'll do. Some will give you like end of game scoring, some will give you new location you can actually use as a worker placement spot. Some of them will just do different things or different rewards that you would get. I really enjoyed this one. It is so neat, so fun, and beautiful, and the artwork is great. And that was my number one game of the month of February. So here's a recap of all the games that made it into my top 9. Be sure to tune in to see which one are going to make my top 9 for the month of March. I'm actually going to GobFest, which is a board game convention that is held in Edmonton tomorrow. So I'm super excited, and I'm hoping to get a lot of games played. So you'll have to see if any of them will make it into the top 9 list for the month of March. So be sure to follow me on Facebook. My Facebook page is Mal's A Board Game Room. I also have an Instagram page, Mal's _ board game _ room. I also have a podcast that I do with my friend Carla called The Board Game Specialist, and my YouTube channel, of course, Mal's Board Game Room. Bye, everybody.